Okay, I started to take the Mahindra apart to install my new LED lights, and then I realized, why not film it? A couple of reasons. One, it might help somebody out there, and two, in case I forget or miss something, I should have it on video while I'm putting it back together to remember what's going on. Now it's mostly assembled or disassembled, but if I film the reassembly process, you can all figure out how to disassemble it from that, I guess. And alright, basically I've got the complete gauge console out. It wasn't anywhere near as hard as I thought it was going to be. I couldn't figure it out yesterday, but I posted on the Facebook USA Mahindra's owner's page and quickly got a number of replies that assisted me in removing this cowl section that wraps between the hood and the dashboard. Take that off, you can find the other bolts. Everything else is a lot easier after that. So my next step is to take this dash panel and cut my switch hole in that, and not 1,000% sure I'm going to do that yet. Probably going to drill 4 holes where I want it, and then I think I've got a small coping saw that I can saw it out with. But yeah, we'll move on to that step now. Alright, I doubt you can see this because I only drew it in pencil, but I've got my switch cutout marked on the plate, trying to avoid the center structure. If I would have thought of it, I would have picked up a 12-volt power outlet there and put that in at the same time, but didn't think of that, so we'll just do this today. Woohoo! I saw that coming, but it still went there. looks like a real snug fit. Nice clean installation. Hopefully that was the hard part. Here's the rest of the wiring harness. Looks pretty well made, to be honest with you. I mean, good gauge wire, nice waterproof inline fuse, relays set up. Now we just need to get everything where it goes. Let's see. All right. This is the connector for the switch. Even a quick disconnect in here, which will make this part a little bit easier. I took a picture on my phone earlier so I could remember. I'm not sure if you can see that, but I'll edit a picture in, but just so I remembered where the wires went on the switch before I removed them. All right, reassembled exactly the way it was sent to me. Panel's just held in by two small screws, Phillips head screws from the back side. Okay, all that disassembly just to get the switch located. Okay. Actually, before I get too far, speedometer cable. Much easier to lay it in this direction to get it fed in. There's a handy cable clip to hold it in place. And then just a good healthy finger tight on it. All right. It's a little awkward to get around this rubber boot in the throttle, but not that bad. There's 3 disconnects in here for the wiring, and that's 1 and 2 and not around my harness I just installed, so 3. Okay, I'm going to feed this down. I'm not going to bolt that back in yet because I'm not sure if I'm 100% done. Alright. I went and bought some, this is coated, it's got a shield on it, but I went and bought some additional wire loom just to be safe. I've got to go grab that. Okay, I'm back with the wire loom. Anything to keep, slow down the rodents. Rodents seem to like eating wire these days. So. Dragging the screwdriver through the seam in the loom just in front of the wire you're inserting seems to reduce the struggle some, but not entirely. I probably should have done this before I put the console back in place, but we'll make the best of it. All right, there we go. See where, okay, hydraulics and wiring coming right through this area. I'm not sure if you can see that there. Right in this area there's a wire loom already going through. I'm going to try and tuck behind that one and come through the same opening in the firewall. Alright, I'll come back and I will zip tie that to the other loom. It's just hydraulic starter. I will, I'll stay right tight to that factory wire loom. I'll zip tie all the way up through. There's another hole or grommet here. I'll put a slice in to feed the grommet, wiring through to the battery right up front. So, that part looks easy, pretty much done. I'm going to move on to the light installation. Alright. Okay, we got the wire run through the firewall into the engine compartment. I'm not going to bolt anything back together yet until it's up and running and working, and I know it. So the next thing I'm going to work on is mounting the lights up on top of the drops. And okay, I'm going to try not to break my neck balancing up here. Oh. This is the light bar I got. Combination of spot and floods, and it's an arched. I don't know if you can see that well, but it's an arched light bar, so hopefully it spreads a little more to the sides in addition to straight out back. And let's see. And here are the other lights I'm going to mount from the forward direction. Hopefully this is mostly really just for snow removal, so I can see where I'm going. I don't plan on doing a lot of night work, but definitely have to in the snow time, or in the winter when it's snowing, to keep on top of things here in the mountains. So I'm going to insulate the light bar from the ROPS with these little rubber gaskets that they sent. And on the inside I cut out some, appears to be about 4 to 5 millimeter closed cell foam. I'm going to put that on the inside of the brackets that I made. Now the brackets I made are going to replace the locking bars on the U-bolts on the back, and I modified them to come in, and the light bar is going to be directly behind the ROPS facing backwards. The brackets I made are going to come down the inside and have a small tab offset from center on there, so that hopefully my spotlights will be pretty much in this location and should be completely out of the way, because I also have a canopy coming in sometime next week that's going to need to be installed. So, alright, I've got almost everything I need. Also going to put a little bit of non-permanent Loctite on each of the bolts, because it's a tractor. It vibrates a lot. So let me grab the last things I need and I'll be right back. Alright. These are the brackets that I made. First I went with just squares. I was going to mount in the bottom hole, but I realized that that was not going to clear. I wouldn't be able to tighten the nut on the back side of the light bar, or the ROPS, because there wouldn't be enough room to get a wrench or a socket in there. So I welded on some small tabs, again offsetting the light as far outward as I can without interfering with the sides of the rollover protection. So quick paint job on them, dropped one already, so that's bottle rust, but it's a tractor, right? Okay, so get rid of that. Also picked up a couple of lock washers just to be safe. Okay. So now this. Let's see. How was I doing this? All right. Just gonna mock it up in place first. When I know everything's where I want it, I'll take one nut off at a time and put a drop of Loctite on. Let me grab my tape measure. Okay. So the distance between the U-bolt it's got to be 21 3/4. So luckily there's a small center mark. I know where the center is here, because there's a plug on the top for something, maybe the wiring or some sort of a light. So 21 3/4 would be 20 and oh man, math, 4 7/8, 10 and 7/8. So all right, that might be an issue right there. All right, we just going to have to, didn't realize the radius was such a large diameter on this. So luckily I drilled holes in all 4 corners of the bracket just in case. So if this doesn't work, then this won't get done this weekend, because I would have to go back to work and make new brackets. And I'm not sure the U-bolts are going to be long enough with that foam in there. It's going to be real snug. You may have to mount those steel on steel, or just cut a little bit of ground fabric for that. Let's see, 10 and 7/8 is what we need to be, right? So, okay. Yeah. That's one. Not a lot of room to stand up here. Okay, so and 7/8. All right. That's basically where those are going to go. Put that foam under the outer edge. And I'm going to walk around to the back of the tractor to break my neck, apparently. All right, let's see. The wiring's probably going to come up the left side. standing on the box blade right now, so I'm trying to make sure I don't wound myself. I'll take that foam out and slip it in last. Let's see. Holy crap. Just about dead center. Okay. So. Alright. Okay, just to be safe, I'm going to zip tie it in place. In case I do something stupid and knock one of the clamps loose. You know what? If it does fall, now it doesn't hit the ground and just get destroyed. Okay. I don't think I'm going to get my lock washers on. Not with that foam, but the Loctite will hopefully solve that problem. Or anything to loosen it up. So. All right. Getting old. All right, let's see. I bought some extra U-bolts and I'm going to use them just to be safe. Subconsciously, I must have known. I can get the lock washers on this side. Alright. Okay, I'll look from the back side, make sure everything's still tight where I want it, and let's see. Alright, my zip ties are sort of in the way to keep me from sliding my clamps in on those brackets tight. I will also run some safety zip ties through the U-bolts, seeing how there is no actual fastener between the U-bolts and the brackets on the lamp. So, what do I do with the knife? Doesn't need to be dead center, but I am definitely a little on the OCD side when it comes to stuff like this. Okay, that looks solid to me. like these because you can slide the brackets so I can offset the lights even farther to the outside edge. I think that's the basic appearance of what it's gonna look like, and I'm gonna go around back to tighten those up. Probably going to add some waterproof connectors up here, one for each light, rather than get everything in one big harness. Each piece would be replaceable individually, or at least removed for repair. Right, so to there. This is gonna drop down inside my fender well. Follow that wiring harness for the tail lights. Do I want to splice in a connector up top here? Let's see here. Alright, I'm going to use the wire harness, but I'm probably going to use the wire from it, the shielding from it, but I'm probably going to cut it apart and splice it back together the way I want, at least from the engine compartment back up here, because it's sort of done in reverse. It has the two spots on a much longer lead than the light bar. I'm thinking they think the light bar is going to be in the front, where the battery is, or it's designed for a vehicle with a battery to the rear and putting the spotlights up front, one or the other. Okay. I need to contemplate this for just a little bit, and I'll be back to let you know what I decide. Let's see. I'm back. Now we are looking at a good place to locate the relay. Considering the batteries terminals are, well, let me see, positives here, negatives here. The harness to the relay, probably about 18 inches. I'm going to run the ground probably right to the side of the radiator frame here, because that is not insulated. It's just straight to the frame, which is grounded. So I've only got to reach this positive terminal. And luckily there's a threaded stud and a bolt on there, which is easy access for my positive terminal. So we're going to mount to this side because the main wiring looms run right up this side. I'm thinking the relay is going to go right in this neighborhood, because we're going to be coming through this gasket. So I don't think it gets much simpler than that. So All right. Let's see. And I've got to be careful. I got a bracket behind here, so I will drill from the back side. Getting ready for the torque twist as she comes through. Just get a larger size bit. Little deburr tool. Much better. Okay. And like everything else, just the tiniest spot. Tiniest spot of non-permanent Loctite. Should be a 10 millimeter. All right, relays mounted. So now we can start fishing things in the reverse direction. Let's see, you're gonna be probably a 14, but I got a 13 handy. Oh, 13 it is. Whew. A little close to my hole, but that's all right. Let's see. All right. Around. Up top. Oh. Put you right behind that monstrous washer. Nope. Just a tiny spot. Alright, ground wire runs straight down. Positive will be the last thing we do. Okay, here's where I gotta decide. They've got 2 leads running for lights. Obviously, I do not need 2 leads for lights to get to the back. It's all coming off the same jumpers on the relay, so that doesn't make a difference. Probably going to cut one of these off. I'm not sure which one yet. And run a single line to the back. Between these two should give me plenty to get all the way back up top, and then do my splitting as I either, probably right up as I get to the top of the ROPS, and I have waterproof quick connects for those lights. So, all right, so which one to cut? The one that's, well, this one goes the farthest before the split, so this one's already split and spliced, so we may use that one up at the very top, so this one we keep. And this one we cut. Alright, so let's see. Wrong pliers. There we go. I'm going to cut this a little long because I'm not sure how I want to cap it and end it. Probably peel them back and individually seal them with heat shrink, and then seal them together with heat shrink to be sure. Alright, so this is the split version. We'll use that later. Okay, we gotta cut a little hole, a little slice in this firewall grommet. Alright, and let's see, that stays forward, this goes to the rear. I will probably half-inch moon these. Even coming back through this. So that needs to be addressed before I'm done. This is the switch that goes to, or this is the plug that goes to the switch. That's in the dash. Those wires are fine going through that rubber grommet, but I think that I will even run the loom through here. Put a relief loop on that just a little bit, so I don't want anything under stress here. And that to the battery. Everything gets zip tied out of the way. Okay, so let's just. So I'll run a 1/2-inch loom this far, split off, 3/8 loom this one up to the switch. Oh, I don't think you guys can see me, I'm talking. Haha. Alright. I'm going to run both of these together in a 1/2-inch loom until I reach under the dash. Then I will split this one off to a 3/8 loom up to the connector for the switch in the dash. This one here, I'll probably remove these terminal ends and splice this properly with heat shrink butt connectors, and then even a larger heat shrink over the entire splice, just to be 100%, well, as sure as possible that I won't have any problems there. And then I will continue this on up to the top of the ROPS and basically split everything off there for each individual light. Alright, let me reposition the camera. I probably won't bring you back under here because the only thing I'm going to do is make sure this stuff's loomed properly and connect the battery back up front. So we're done in this part. Okay, what I did here is I took some adhesive heat shrink and placed it over the end of each cut wire, shrunk it down. While it was still hot, I crimped the ends. Now I am going to take a slightly larger heat shrink, put over the two of them together, and do the same. And that should ensure that no water gets in there to corrode those two dead ends. I loomed that pair of wires as far as I could to the fuse, and I've loomed the entire harness with a 1/2 inch, including the wires that I had cut and heat shrink sealed are inside the loom also to protect them even one more time. This is looped so there's no undue stress on the wires, and coming through this grommet, following the main wiring harness all the way around, down under, through the firewall, and this is as far as I've made it so far. So this is the, excuse me, this goes to the switch, so I've got a few more feet of loom to do on that under the dash. This is where the rear lights get split off, and these will go down under the chassis and follow up behind under the fender well and up to the ROPS. So that's the next step. And I'll turn the camera on, but I don't know how much fun it'll be to watch. Okay, this is the part that's split off. I cut this additional Y off because I don't need the split here, it's going to be way back. But now I've got two more dead ends I need to take care of and figure out what I did with my small heat shrink. Oh, there it is. Okay. Let's see. Cutters. My workplace is a mess right now. This will all be up inside the 3/8 loom anyway, so I'm not super concerned about it, but why not take care of everything the best you can while you're at it? I don't know if the wire loom is necessary. This is really a pretty tough jacket that they put over the wires. So between this and the loom, I'm not worried at all. Let's see here. Be sure to get your additional heat shrink tubing over your wires before you connect them. I screwed this up a little bit later, but it's in a non-important area, so I didn't cut and resplice. Here I am using standard butt connectors, but these have a heat shrink outside jacket to help protect the connections from the outside weather. And in addition to that, I'm also going to be putting a section of heat shrink tubing over both wires that are already heat shrink connected, A, for a more secure connection, and B, additional weatherproofing. In a scenario like this, I always try and do the red first, then the black on every connection, just to create a habit and avoid screwing things up really badly. I was not happy with this connection, so I decided to remove this connector and just make sure it was more secure. I'd much rather do a job one time correctly than have to find an issue, a short, or a problem later on down the road.
I know this is boring, so I'm just going to film this first one, and I will speed the filming up through the rest of the boring stuff. You can tell by my shirt that it's getting a little windy at times, and, well, Murphy's Law, it gets real windy every time I try and use the heat gun to shrink the tubing, so that slows me down just a little bit there. I keep turning the wires to make sure I disperse the heat all the way around the wires and get a really good seal. It's pretty important when you're working on things that are going to be outdoors in the elements all the time. Even though I'm fairly sure those heat shrink butt connectors will do a good job and keep the connections from getting wet, I just gotta play it safe and put some heat shrink tubing over both of those joints together. That, and by adding the plastic wire loom throughout the entire harness, these should be relatively indestructible, hopefully. Anyways, back to work here. I'm going to speed it up now. Okay, now I took this joint where the wire split off, and I was sure to get some electrical tape and solidify that entire area, giving it a little bit more weather seal, and again, just strengthening up the joint. Under the console, there are three large plastic wire connectors. One, I believe, that goes for the light system, one for the ignition system, and then one for the gauge cluster. In addition, you also have the speedometer cable, which is basically a square key inside drive that slides into the speedometer, and then there's a round knurled threaded nut to hold that safely in place. In addition, there is a snug clip that the speedometer cable clips into to keep its position appropriate to the speedometer right next to it, right next to that connection. A little bit hard to get out of there. I used the pliers just to loosen the speedometer cable nut because it was too tight to do with my fingers right there. I think this is the point where I realized that I did not have the panel for the switch that I installed seated properly. You can see it, it's up at an angle towards the top of the panel. I didn't get the top lip seated before I set the screws in. The good news is, did you see how I just took the dash off? By turning it 90 degrees from its original position, it slides over that column a whole lot easier. No struggle there. So that alone, learning that definitely made up for the mistake. Okay, here I'm under the tractor, just showing you where I brought the wire loom down real close to the main frame, avoiding as many moving components as I could. I'm going to mostly tie to the main hydraulic line. You can see right there, my hand's right next to the hydraulic filter. Now, shortly to the back of the tractor where I came down from, there is another factory wire loom that crosses over from the other side. So we're going to join up with that wire loom. I'll probably show you here in just a second. So then we'll be right back to tying into factory looms. If I remember right, I'm going to turn the camera angle here to show down next to the frame rail. There we go. And you really can't see perfectly, but right at my fingertips to the top, there's a factory wire loom right there. And I'm going to join up with that and follow the path to the rear of the tractor from there. Okay, I thought a different angle might be a little bit more helpful. I don't think it is, but now you can see the hydraulic filter right above my head now, and you can see the main frame rails of the tractor. And I'm going to zip tie first to that main hydraulic line, and then shortly behind that I'm going to join up with that other wire loom that was from, I believe, factory lighting going to the rear of the equipment. Here I am just trying to show you where those factory loom and my loom are coming up together, just over the 3-point lift attachment. I'm going to try and stay inside that motion and follow along those looms. Right now I'm pointing towards the tail lighting for the left side of the tractor. I'm going to stick right with that same exact path because some engineer smarter than me figured that out. Here I am just showing you the weatherproof quick connects that I got. I'm going to put one on each of the lights just in case I happen to need to take them off for any reason for replacement repairs. I don't want to have to be in there cutting and splicing over and over again. This video is getting an awful lot longer than I really want it to be, so I'm going to go about 10 times faster through this next bit, which is me just going back and forth in decision making and trying to double and triple check my thought process and just try and get it done right the first time. So please be patient. I'm leaving it all in there just for reference. If anybody wants to slow it down and look at it a little more closely, go right ahead. At this point, I am connecting the positive battery terminal and about ready to test the lights. Everything went well except for one spotlight wasn't working, so I had to do a little troubleshooting. You're going to see me remove the right side spotlight, and luckily I installed all those quick disconnects, so it was easy enough to remove the one light that wasn't working to see if it was a defective light or whether I messed up the wiring somehow simply by connecting it to one of the other light connections in the harness. Sure enough, I had a bad splice. I don't know exactly how it happened. I usually pretty thorough about giving a good tug and making sure I have a solid connection, but one was bad, so not a big deal. I replaced that one butt connector and also unfortunately lost my heat shrink tubing at that point that covers both of the butt connectors, but that's way up high on the ROPS and it's most likely going to be covered by the canopy. It's still in the wire loom, still has the heat shrink butt connectors, so I don't see that being an issue down the road. But the good news is the lights are 100% working now, and I'm quite happy. Here I thought I was done, but I realized that this was the actual important part of the video where I have to reassemble the dashboard, put the tractor back together so that you guys can see how it came apart in reverse. So let's get on with that now. Okay, the lower console never really had to come out of place, just got sort of pulled back a little so I could get in behind it. So it's still pretty well seated where it's supposed to be. I'm just looking for any bound up wires, anything interfering with any moving parts behind there, but everything fits pretty smoothly. Now you see me grabbing one of the 12mm head bolts that secures the side of the lower cowl or console cover, whatever you want to call it. There's this one on the bottom here, and then there's one in the exact same location on the opposite side. There is also the same size bolt just under the rubber boot that covers the steering column in the absolute center of the panel, and those are the three bolts that hold the lower cover on. Just above the bolt on the side, you can see there's a little tab that just helps locate the top and hold it in closer to the firewall. Here I am doing the exact same thing on the right side of the tractor that I just did on the left side. You're also going to see me jiggle the top console around, get it seated in place properly so that I can locate and tighten the two bolts up by the top of the console near the firewall, and there's two screws again under the rubber boot that covers the steering column. And you'll see me work on those in just a second when I come back around to this side of the tractor. You see me just basically making sure the location tabs are just where they're supposed to be. Everything's seated where it should be. Grabbing one of those 12mm head bolts. There's two of them right where you see my right hand tightening that bolt in right now. Pointing to the console or the strip of metal that goes over the firewall to blend the dash console to the nose of the tractor. Anyways, this is way more simple than I thought it would be realistically 5 minutes. You can have this whole console off, and another 5 minutes you can have it back on. But when you first look at it and you can only find one bolt, it's pretty daunting. Here I am just showing you where those two screws go to hold the back side of the gauge cluster in place. Simple Phillips head, and you're done. The front panels of the tractor go back on pretty easily. There's really just one thumb screw that holds each of the side panels on the engine compartment, and there's a couple of locating rods. I'm going to show you those here in just a second. I think I'm changing the camera angle or something, or not sure what I was doing. But anyways, if you look at the very back side of the panel, there's two rods that stick backwards and locate inside two grommets that are close to the firewall, right where my hands are now. Same thing on the bottom, except for there's a grommet on the panel and a rod that sticks up from the bottom of the frame of the tractor. And then there's just simply that thumb screw I'm touching right now that goes through the hole on the top front corner of the panel and holds it all in place. These things are really simple to get access to just about anything you need to. Here I'm going to bring the camera over to show you something that I discovered I was not aware of beforehand, and that is that the very front nose grill of the tractor is pretty much held in place by two large thumb screw or hand screw or whatever you want to call them, knobs, and tilts the nose of the tractor forward, which makes removal and installation of the side panels of the engine compartment a whole lot easier. You can see the gap it creates there. There I'm touching the two hand screws, thumb screws, whatever you want to call them. Just shifting that forward makes life a lot easier. And just figured I'd point that out while I was here. We are getting near the end. Just this final cowl cover, firewall cover, whatever you want to call it. This is the piece that conceals the installation bolts for the top console and the bottom console that connect to the firewall. So it's real simple. It's got that weather stripping rubber seal belt that faces the rear of the tractor and the metal edge which lines up with the, well, creates the panel gaps for the hood and the side panels on the engine compartment. And it's held in place real simply with just two bolts on either side and one bolt under the hood in the top dead center, which is a little bit of a reach to get at, but you're going to see a little bit later that once you put the hood open, you have perfect sight on that bolt through the fuel filler opening. If not, you'd be feeling around in there for quite a while to get it where you needed it. Here I'm looking at my phone just to see what time it is. This whole entire project took me roughly 6 hours to complete. Now, a lot of that was me hemming and hawing to figure out what I wanted to do for a splicing strategy, how I wanted to route the wires, just overthinking everything. With a little guidance, and you can do it a whole lot faster. In fact, if you're going to do this, I recommend buying the wire and creating your entire harness from scratch, just to avoid all those additional splices that I have in there. Not that that's a problem, but it would be a little bit faster, easier, and cleaner installation if you did.
Okay, this is nighttime. Sun's down. There's the top of the mountain. This is looking up my hill. Let's turn the factory lights on. Not too bad. We can see a little bit. All right, let's try out these new LEDs. Oh! Good morning, sunshine. I just need to tip them up a little bit, but overall, looks pretty good. Off, on. I don't think the camera's doing it justice because I can see a whole lot farther than the camera is giving a clue to. But let me get off and show you guys around. I can see the chicken coop off to the side of the house, up towards the wood pile, along the side of the tractor. This is behind the tractor, headed towards the road. Some implements. I mean, it's practically daylight out here right now. It's like stadium lighting. Oh, I'm gonna step in a damn gopher hole. Pretty happy with it. I'll turn off in comparison without the factory lights here. All right, so factory lights off. New lights on. I might adjust them a little bit, but overall, I'm very, very happy with these. Thanks again.